My name is Clara Janeway. I am 29 years old and I live in Westfield, Indiana. My life might seem ordinary at first glance. I work as an art teacher at the local high school, I have a cozy little apartment adorned with paintings and drawings, and I enjoy spending weekends with my friends at the local coffee shop. However, things are not always what they seem. My world was turned upside down when I was a child, and that experience shaped who I am today. You see, when I was 9 years old, my father lost his job on Christmas Day. It was not just any job. He was the head coach of a local youth soccer team, and to lose that role during the holiday season was devastating for our family. I remember the look on his face, filled with shock and despair as he walked through the door, the weight of disappointment hanging heavy in the air. My mother tried to console him, but I could see the sadness in her eyes too. They worked hard to provide for me, and underneath that enforced cheeriness of the holiday season, I sensed the hopelessness making a home within our walls. Over the years, I saw my father's spirit dim. It became increasingly difficult for him to regain the confidence he lost that fateful day. People still talked about him, whispered about how he was once such a promising coach. The town seemed to relish in his downfall. Those who had cheered for him in the past now avoided his gaze and made him feel like a ghost among the living. I felt this immense pressure to seek justice not just for him, but for all those times he had to tell me he was fine when he clearly was not. I witnessed how he was made to feel small, and it burned within me, a fire that drove me to seek revenge against a world that had treated him so unfairly. As I delved deeper into my teenage years, I decided I wanted to help people. Perhaps I thought if I made a difference somewhere, it could somehow heal the wounds inflicted on my father. I threw myself into soccer and became captain of my high school team. I poured myself into the games, desperate to prove that our family name was not tarnished. I worked tirelessly, leading my team to victory. But instead of helping, the validation I sought only seemed to highlight my father's past. Instead of being celebrated, he was further marginalized, as if the more I achieved, the more his failures haunted our family. My heart sank as I realized my efforts were creating a bigger rift. I spent hours training, pushing my body to its limits, thinking that maybe if I were the best, someone would finally recognize my father's worth. But life does not always reward hard work in the way we wish. One day during practice, a scholarship recruiter visited our school. I saw my chance, the opportunity for my family to rise from the ashes of failure. I played my heart out, scoring the winning goal, earning the attention that I desperately sought. But when I returned home, filled with hope, I was met with disappointment. The recruiter had left for another school, and I realized I had missed my shot. I was devastated. My father tried to console me, but the hurt was too deep for words. I felt utterly defeated, like nothing I did mattered. After suffering through what seemed like an endless cycle of failure, the darkness of hopelessness began to creep back into my life. I began to believe all my hard work would amount to nothing. That feeling was almost paralyzing. I quickly learned that simply achieving success would not be enough. I needed to go beyond. I knew I had to confront the ones who doubted my family. My nemesis was the local soccer league director, a cruel man named Gary. He had taken great pleasure in talking about my father's downfall, perpetuating the narrative that he was not fit to coach. An idea began to form in my mind. If I could take down Gary, shining a light on his own failures, I could restore my family's dignity and perhaps even my father's lost dream. After weeks of research, I discovered that Gary had mishandled funds in the local league and was on the verge of being exposed. I could not believe it. A chance had presented itself, the perfect opportunity for revenge. However, I realized I was not the only one seeking to hold Gary accountable. As I gathered my evidence, I was met with resistance from others who feared retaliation. My heart raced with anxiety, and self-doubt clouded my mind. I felt like all hope might be lost yet again, the walls were closing in on me, and I feared I might not be able to go through with it. Despite my fears, I resolved to push forward. With every ounce of strength left in my soul, I made my final attempt. I contacted a local journalist and arranged a meeting to present the information I had collected. This would be the moment that could change everything. I prepared myself, rehearsing what I wanted to say, pouring my heart into articulating how Gary had caused so much pain, not just to my family, but to many others. When the day came, I walked into the cafe where we had agreed to meet, shaking with anticipation. I met with the journalist, a kind woman with a passion for justice. As I laid out the evidence before her, the urgency in my voice pushed me forward. I spoke of how my father's light had been dimmed by shame. After we wrapped up the meeting, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. In the following weeks, Gary's corrupt actions were exposed, and he was relieved of his duties. The joy that flooded my heart was overwhelming. My father, who once wore the scars of failure like a badge of shame, was now back in the game, stronger than ever. This victory felt unlike anything I had ever achieved on the soccer field. My family reunited in a way I had not thought possible. My father's laughter filled our home once again, the darkness banished by newfound hope. The unexpected twist came when I learned that coaching positions were opening up in the high school league. My father got a chance to return to the field, not just as a coach, but as a centerpiece of our community. As we celebrated, I realized that the greatest revenge was not merely about tearing down Gary, it was about building my father up. In reclaiming our family's honor, I had also discovered my own path to healing. Now, our world might not be perfect, but we had something far more valuable: the unbreakable bond of family and the ability to rise together, unstoppable against the doubts of a world that had once tried to tear us apart.